just wanted to show you some things from the election news, you know, if you're not interested in the UK election, then you may want to turn off. But I think these are sort of funny, but they're not funny really, because this is real life in Stalinist Britain. You know, it's unbelievable what happens, how you get gaslit by politicians. Do you know? It's incredible, isn't it? Anyway, yeah. So I want to show you a couple of things today or tonight. Rishi Sunak on his campaign trail. Snaky Sunak. He's getting, in my opinion, he's getting snakier by the minute. So I don't know if any of you saw this, but what day was this? I think it was yesterday, or it may have been this morning. I don't know. I've lost track of time with this election.
Right. Okay.
So Rishi was visiting this place, this workplace, and there was a girl. I mean, she's become, this woman, whoever she is, she's famous now. She's all over social media because he was talking, you know, and the people that were listening to him were behind him. And you can tell by the faces everywhere Rishi goes that, you know, the faces are, nobody's interested in what he's got to say. They're just made to stand there. But this particular girl, her face is a picture, and she's actually laughing at him when he's talking. Let's see.
That's the secure future I want for our country, and with your support, I would be delighted to deliver it for you.
Oh, stop it. So we've missed the bit where she was laughing at him. This video starts after. Suddenly, this guy appears, and people are saying he's like a Ross Kemp lookalike. So sinister, this guy appears from behind Rishi Sunak. Watch what he does.
Thanks very much. All right. Right. Okay, we're going to open it up some questions. So I think the future is better. And my simple pitch to you would be, we're making enormous progress now.
He goes and stands in front of her. So this girl, who's been sort of raising her eyebrows at what Rishi Sunak was saying and actually laughing at him at times when he was saying, you know, what they'd done for the country and this, that and the other. And this bloody bald-headed guy just appears, comes round, stands in front of her, like, so she can't be seen. It's really weird.
The economy has turned a corner. You remember how hard it's been for a few years. We're at this point now where we can start looking to the future with more confidence.
But she can't see.
So for people who are working hard like all of you, right, you stick with us. We're going to keep cutting your taxes to give you that financial security to buy your home, move home, have a holiday, do whatever it is you want to do. And the alternative on offer, because all elections are a choice,
she's trying to look,
right? The alternative on offer is a party that is going to put up your taxes. Right, as I said, as clear as night follows day. Right, the Labour Party have got a million things that they said they're going to spend money on. They don't have the money to pay for it.
Yeah, so she's trying to look, but she can't.
And you're all going to pay for it in higher taxes.
Lucky
and
moves,
I don't want that. I want you to have a more financially secure future. That's the secure future I want for our country, and with your support,
laughing at him, raising her eyebrows, and here he comes, so sinister. And, you know, so you can imagine it's been all over social media, and then the detectives, the social media detectives get to work. And it turns out he works for the Conservative Party, he works for Oliver Dowden, who's the Deputy Prime Minister of the Conservative Party. So he's a known person. Oh, God, the dog's just gone and fished something out of the bin. Oh, well, it'll keep her quiet for a bit. Yeah, so this guy, let's see if we can see who he is. I mean, it's literally that video. Here it is again, although that was the one we've just watched. It's literally been on my feed, coming up on my feed over and over again, of how sort of sinister it was. So then later on that day, oh, look at that little dog. Later on that day, Rishi Sunak went to another place to give a talk. Notice how they've repositioned him so that everybody's back is to the camera, so no one can be standing behind him, raising their eyebrows or laughing at him and need some bloody thug from the Conservative Party to come and block them out. I mean, it's a wonder he didn't inject her with something. You know, I won't put anything past this government that we've got now. They manufacture everything that they do. So anyway, so you'd think, all right, they've learnt that lesson. So now he's facing the camera. They've got it so the people that are listening, you can't see their expressions. So you think, oh, that what could possibly go wrong? So anyway, one of the people in the audience asked him a question because their mum died in the pandemic, and they asked. He pulls Rishi up about, you know, the fact that he received a fine. Listen to this. Just unbelievable, this guy.
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, it's good that you sort of mentioned trust there. My mum died in 2020, sort of the height of the pandemic. My brothers couldn't sort of be with us in hospital. I couldn't be there. You probably remember that was the month where all the parties were going on in Downing Street. I think the month after you attended a gathering where you got a fixed penalty notice. So my question was just sort of, how can anyone trust you or the party after things like this?
Yeah.
So Rishi's like, who the fuck let him in here? Why is he asking me this question? Why is he asking me this embarrassing question? So this poor guy's lost his mum during the pandemic. So he's pointing out to Rishi, you know, how you talk about trust, but how can you expect anyone to trust you because you were partying? You know, even the Queen went had to sit on her own at the bloody Prince Philip's funeral. Even she followed the rules while they were all partying at Downing Street. They think people are stupid and that they'll forget. I mean, we have never had a prime minister before him and Boris, who actually received some sort of, you know, legal penalty. You know, they just never happened before, but they just carried on being, he's just still prime minister. It doesn't seem to matter what people do. You know, it doesn't matter what this government does. They just carry on. You know, anybody who was a bit more principled would resign immediately and say, oh, no, I did the wrong thing and resign. Do you remember that when people used to resign because they did the wrong thing? This government never resigns. Anyway, but even worse than that, so this poor guy, as you could hear the emotion in his voice, he hasn't got over it. Obviously, don't get over losing your mum, not being able to go and see her, nobody yet being out dying on her own. In hospital, like my friend's Down syndrome sister had to do exactly the same thing. Nobody could go and visit her, and she had to die on her own in intensive care. And also disabled people, the hospitals were given instructions not to resuscitate them. I tell you, this government will go down in history as you know, I'm not joking when I say they're Nazis. They are Nazis, because when you look into it, so given orders not to resuscitate disabled people, you know, it's like a cult, wasn't it? You know, trying to get rid of old people, disabled people, sick people, just let them go, you know. And Boris Johnson even said, let the bodies pile high, you know. Oh, just don't get me started. But anyway, so not only that he's made this total, you know, this guy's asked him this question. He could have had the humility to just say, yes, I'm so sorry about that. But oh, no.
Well, I'm really sorry that you lost your mum, and particularly in those circumstances, because it wasn't easy for so many people during the pandemic, the impact it had on everyone's life. And
so you know, started off saying sorry, and then he said, oh, it had an impact on everyone's life. You know, it's like he's taken away from that guy's pain straight away, instead of just saying, no, that must have been awful for you, and I'm so, you know, I really feel for you, blah 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 blah. But no, because it had an impact on everyone's lives. It didn't have any impact on his life, though, did it? Because he just carried on partying and doing whatever anyway. But then, even worse than that, and the total lack of empathy that he shows with that guy, he then starts talking, like, listen to what he says next.
I can't imagine what it must have been for you not to be able to be with her at that time. It was really tough. And I'm sorry for what was going on in Downing Street. And for my part, I apologized. I showed up to a meeting earlier. As you know, I was working on things.
I showed up to a meeting early. As you know, I was working on things. So, you know, look, you can tell he's lying. Look at his face. Showed up early. That's the only reason he got caught out at that party. It was it Boris Johnson supposedly got ambushed by a cake on his birthday.
To help you and your business and many other families like that. And in fact, it was probably in that same period of time that you got to know me as Chancellor. Most of you didn't know who I was before then. And I popped up on your TV screens, announced the furlough scheme because I knew.
Then he brings it right. Oh, so I was there early working on things to help your business. And then you probably didn't know about me before that. But then you got to know about me after that, because then I brought in the furloughs. That's the one thing that he's got, that he thinks he can, you know, win people over with. Yes, I gave you the furlough scheme. I gave you the furlough scheme. That's the one thing. And so he took that guy's pain and that story that guy was telling him and asking him, how can we trust you? And he turned it all around to, look how brilliant I am.
Knew that we were going to have to work together to get through that. And it was going to be a difficult time. And hopefully some of you here benefited from some of the support that we put in place, because that was what I was working on during the pandemic. So when you ask, can you trust me? We've had some really big shocks over the past few years with the pandemic.
Yeah, that was why he was there at that party, because he was working on the furlough scheme to help everybody.
And then what happened with energy bills. And when those things happened, I did everything I could to protect you and your families and help get the country through it, whether it was furlough, whether it was the considerable support.
I did everything I could to protect you and your families to get them through it. Well, you didn't. His mum was dead. His mum's dead. You know, you didn't do anything to protect my friend's sister. You know, when your government gave out the order that disabled people shouldn't be resuscitated, and she had to die on her own in intensive care. Not you, you know, so my friend lives in France, so she couldn't travel from France, but she's got family in Manchester who could have gone to see her, but they weren't allowed to go and see her, and they weren't allowed to have a proper funeral for her. And he was there at a party in Downing Street, and instead of, you know, just having the humility to apologise for that and leaving it there, he then went on to brag about, you know, boast about what he did for everybody. I'm going to just play that once more from the beginning without my commentary.
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, it's good that you sort of mentioned trust there. My mum died in 2020, sort of the height of the pandemic. My brothers couldn't sort of be with us in hospital while I couldn't be there. You probably remember that was the month where all the parties were going on in Downing Street. I think the month after you attended a gathering where you got a fixed penalty notice. So my question was just sort of, how can anyone trust you or the party after things like this?
Yeah. Well, I'm really sorry that you lost your mum, and particularly in those circumstances, because it wasn't easy for so many people during the pandemic, the impact it had on everyone's life. And I can't imagine what it must have been for you not to be able to be with her at that time. It was really tough. And I'm sorry for what was going on in Downing Street. And for my part, I apologized. I showed up to a meeting earlier. As you know, I was working on things to help you and your business and many other families like that. And in fact, it was probably in that same period of time that you got to know me as Chancellor. But most of you didn't know who I was before then. And I popped up on your TV screens, announced the furlough scheme, because I knew that we were going to have to work together to get through that. And it was going to be a difficult time. And hopefully some of you here benefited from some of the support that we.
Sorry, I've just got to say something. I was going to try and go through that without saying anything. But he's so condescending, isn't he? Most of you didn't know who I was, and I popped up on your TV screens. See, he is in so much of a bubble. He really is. This would be a shock for him going out and, you know, talking to all these people. He's like, he's been cosseted all his life. You know, he's married a billionaire. You know, he's like little Lord Fauntleroy, isn't he? And he's never, now he's out there realizing people don't like him. People don't like Rishi. They don't want you. They're not going to vote for you. You can do what you want and they're not going to vote for you. The only people that are going to vote for him are people that always vote Conservative, so they just couldn't bring themselves to vote. They couldn't bring themselves to vote Labour, so they'll probably vote Reform or they'll vote Conservative because they always have. I don't think anybody actually likes Rishi, even his own membership didn't vote for him, did they? They voted for Liz Truss. And look, she's practically, honestly, God. Shush! Hey, stop. God, that bloody chihuahua. Oh, that chihuahua. Stop. Stop. So yeah, they voted for Liz Truss, who I'm sorry, honest to God, I really seriously worry that Liz Truss might have something wrong with her, because she's another one. Anyway, I've got to I could go on and on.
We put in place, because that was what I was working on during the pandemic. So when you ask, can you trust me? We've had some really big shocks over the past few years with the pandemic and then what happened with energy bills. And when those things happened, I did everything I could to protect you and your families and help get the country through it, whether it was furlough, whether it was the considerable support with energy bills, because that's who I am as a person. I'm in this to help you, help your family, and particularly when our country goes through tough times, I will.
That's who he is as a person. He's here to help you. He's here to help you and the country go through tough times. He's never been through a tough time in his whole life. And the other thing I just wanted to say before I stop going on about Rishi Snakey Sunak, you know, he went off. He started his campaign trail on a train. He went on a train, like to show he's a man of the people. He had a £750 rucksack with his monogram on it. They took his belongings on this train as if he was like roughing it on the train. And then going back, he didn't go back on the train. No, he got on his helicopter then and went back. So, do you know, like the thing is, for his helicopter to pick him up from, I think it was Newcastle or somewhere in the north that he'd gone to, his helicopter still had to go there to go and pick him up and take him back. So why didn't he just go on the helicopter in the first place? So he paid to go on the train to try and show he's a man of the people. He goes on the train, and it's the first time he's ever been on a train. And so he's done that, like for it to look good that he's going on the train, not in his helicopter. But his helicopters had to go and fly there to pick him up to bring him back anyway. Anyway, just incredible. It is, David, this chihuahua, honestly, you know, I love dogs, and it's a lovely little chihuahua, but it never stops yapping. It yaps, and they don't tell it to shut up. I couldn't cope with it myself, but of course all the other dogs then start going as well. But yeah, you pay. That's right, you didn't pay to travel on the train. No. It was a sleeper train. I expect he went first class, and he sort of turned up there. It was funny because he turned up there as if it was just him with his rucksack, but of course his whole entourage will have been on it as well. It's all staged. I hate all that falseness, but anyway. But it's been an interesting tour that he's done, because that girl that was raising her eyebrows behind him, and then that guy went and stood in front of her, that has been literally everybody's picked. I'm surprised it hasn't been on the, of course it hasn't been, I don't think, on mainstream media. I don't know if any of you had seen it before or not, but it is, you know, you can imagine how it's spreading around Twitter and all social media. It's just like, they think people are stupid. They don't see those things, you know. Anyway. Okay. She is Liz Truss. Honestly, I really think there's something wrong with Liz Truss. She's just like, she's another one. She's totally oblivious, and then she couldn't even find her way out of a room, could she? She was holding a book up. Anyway, she couldn't even hold a book up the right way around. I mean, was the prime minister. Oh, she was the prime minister for 10 days. Oh God, this has been such a terrible episode for Britain, I think. Just hope it's going to change. I just hope it is. You know, I mean, I do enjoy the run up to the election. I do enjoy all the stories, you know, not only about Rishi, and then there was the Diane Abbott thing, and that's still rumbling on, and you know, all the intrigue because this general election, it's going to get, you know, they get nasty, don't they? But this is going to be really nasty, I think, from both parties, probably. You know, and I do like that, all the cut and thrust and the intrigue and what's going on. But Rishi, I don't know, he's useless. He's useless. He doesn't know he's useless because he's always been told how brilliant he is. You know, and now that, anyway, I could go on and on. Yvonne, who do you vote for? You're in Wales, aren't you? So I think there's a problem in Wales, isn't there, with Labour? You know, you vote for, find out who your candidate, or all I would say to anyone is find out who your candidates are and vote for who you think will do the most for your area. And if you think that's Conservative, then you've got to vote Conservative. But, you know, then again, you've got to think about, I suppose, the whole country. But I don't know. I can't tell people who to vote for. I know who I am going to vote, who I'm going to vote for, but everybody's got their own decisions to make. I know there's some problems in Wales. I've got a few students in Wales, and they were saying they don't know who to vote for because there's a problem with Labour in Wales, isn't there, I think? Anyway. Vote Lib Dem if you've got I don't know if you've even got a Lib Dem candidate. Vote Green Party. Vote Monster Raving Loony Party. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to go. So thank you. Thank you so much, especially for being members. Thank you for being here with me tonight. We're praying for Sebastian tonight. Maybe there'll be some more news about Samantha tomorrow. Maybe they'll have, because I've been searching today, haven't they? Of course, it's nighttime in Australia now. No, it's daytime in Australia. So, it's a new day has just started in, a new day's just started in Australia. So they'll be out searching today again. Maybe some news by the time I wake up. Yvonne, vote Labour then. If you've always voted Labour, vote Labour. I think it will be a bit of a wipeout for the Tories, but they need that lesson, I think, as well. They need that lesson, do you know? Because I think they've just done what they want. They think people are stupid and they're not noticing. They call it the Westminster bubble. They think that what they do in Westminster doesn't cut through, you know, to the population, or they just release these slogans and things, and they think people would just be, you know, just go along with what they say and that. But I think they don't. I honestly do think that Rishi Sunak really does not realise how unpopular he is. Hello. She's behind me, I think, somewhere. She's behind this chair, isn't she? Hello, baby. Hello. I'm finished now. She wants some attention, don't you? She wants some attention. She's beautiful, aren't you? She's beautiful. Okay, that's it. I'm going. So, thank you again. Remember to live and love wisely and carefully. And, Desi, happy birthday to your son tomorrow. Night. As Heather normally says, don't let the bed bugs bite. And I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, may your God go with you. I'm going to put my little video on. Where is it? There.